Hello, all of our friends, followers, and fans of SAMexpert, and everyone who may be for any probably work-related reason interested in what's going on in the world of Microsoft licensing, and these days also all the news related to how it affects Microsoft Cloud and your expenses and your budgets. And we're here today with an October 2024 update. So let's talk about what Microsoft released as updates a couple days ago, and maybe a few predictions, rumors for the upcoming months. Anything that is important. We're not going to talk about every nitty-gritty what they recently announced. And without further ado, here's a list of the short list of the things that I'd like to quickly talk about today. If at any time during this stream you want to ask any questions, please feel free to. Absolutely. And let's move on. Microsoft on their product terms website every month publishes updates, the page with what's new in product terms. And sometimes these points don't make sense. So what we will do today as well, we will translate them. And the point number one on the list is SQL Server and Windows Server. Microsoft added self-hosting and disaster recovery clause for customers with subscription licenses. We have a specific slide for that, so let's move on with the other announcements. Office LTSC, long-term servicing channel, just traditional Office, really, not a subscription Office, is now available as a version 2024, which is naturally, if you use Office 365, this is what the Office is. Just all the recent updates now in the long-term servicing branch now is available in all the channels except for enterprise agreement with the version 2024. If you were waiting for it, finally it's here. If you want to buy it, go to your resellers. We don't sell licenses. We only consult on how to buy them. There's another LTSC version of Windows Enterprise LTSC. It's still Windows 11, just another stepping stone in the long-term servicing branch. Project now includes Planner, Project Online, and therefore the plans have been renamed to plans 3 and 5. I'll show you, no, I won't show you a screenshot. Basically what was used to be called Project Plan 3 and Project Plan 5 is now called Planner and Project Plan 3 and Planner and Project Plan 5. It's as simple as that, just new products. In the glossary, Microsoft finally updated the external users definition, but it's nothing new. We talked about it in July, and I will repeat today how it affects your budgets, how it affects you negatively. It's not a good change, and you need to know about it. And it will affect everybody who signs new agreements. Those of you who have existing agreements, you're still fine until you renew. When you renew, you will have to accept the new terms. The Dynamics 365 price increase is finally here. We're in October. It was promised for October. It probably not exactly the same. We still need to look at the same as promised. We still need to look at the updated price lists. But if you've missed your chance to fix the price and lock the price, now you will pay roughly between 10 and 20% more for certain dynamic licenses. And yesterday, some of the SPLA resellers published an update, which also we will probably release an additional video on it, or we'll go live and discuss it. Microsoft, every year, Microsoft increases prices on SPLA, so it's nothing extraordinary. But we have some details about that price increase, which will be the closing item in today's live update. So, and as I said, at any time, if you have any questions, please type them in the chat. Please send them in direct messages, those of you who have direct messages to me, and I will pick those questions up. And let's move on in a bit more details. In the October 2024 update of the Microsoft product terms, Microsoft for for reasons unknown, I'll explain now, clarified that subscription licenses for Windows Server and SQL Server have disaster recovery and self-hosting rights equivalent to the licenses with software assurance. But the way they did it is, this is why I'm saying for the reasons unknown, it's nonsensical. Probably they did it to explain, maybe to answer clients' questions when clients ask questions around, do we have disaster recovery rights? Do we have self-hosting rights with subscription licenses through CSP? Why CSP? This update, which is not clear from the announcements page, this update is only on the MCA, Microsoft Customer Agreement, or CSP page, nowhere else. And funny enough, it's published on the perpetual license page. There are 2 pages in CSP, in the CSP product terms, related to Windows Server, and 2 pages related to SQL Server. And the way it's done for CSP, let's forget about the other agreements now, is there is a page for perpetual CSP licenses, and there is a page for subscription CSP licenses. And the subscriptions page has always had this allowance. So Microsoft, in regards to the terms, Microsoft changed nothing. You're still required to have a subscription CSP license to get those rights. And they have always been there. There is no, some partners recently said it's to harmonize the terms. Nothing has been harmonized. It's almost like a clarification clause, but it will be confusing for those who will go to that page, see the mention of the subscription license on the page that is dedicated to purely perpetual licenses, not subscription licenses, and may get confused. They may either think, I would have thought maybe now I can buy subscription licenses in a different way to the ways we already had. No, it's all the same. Or some people may start thinking that maybe these rights are available to perpetual licenses. However, it says here that they are subscription licenses. It's a confusing update. There was it was not necessary. There was no reason to roll out this update, and please don't overreact to it. Nothing new has been introduced at all. It's always been granted to subscription licenses. You only had one job, dear Microsoft person who updates these pages, and some of the links don't work again, like the last month. Nobody checks the links they put in there, hyperlinks on the updates page. But let's move on. External users are now redefined. This is not, if you've been following us and Microsoft's update, this is not new. This has been announced. This was announced back in July, probably even before that, but I remember that was said in July. Now October came, and this is the reality. I'll repeat, those of you who have old agreements, you are not affected until you renew the agreement. Anyone who signs new agreements now need to comply with these terms in regards to external users. So why is this important? External users and internal users may be licensed differently depending on the product. And the costs and the rules may be different. And in many cases, external users are cheaper. Microsoft tightened that. They reduced the number of people eligible for external users licensing, which is cheaper, which then now makes licensing more expensive. So who are external users from October 2024? And on this slide, when you see now, that was pre-October definition. Now, external users are users that are not employees of customer affiliates, this is a clear one. If you have an employee, it's not an external user. Before that, only on-site contractors without any other metrics were classified as internal users. Now, because of the proliferation of work from home, regardless of that some companies call employees back, Microsoft decided to change and update the definition. So now, who are not included? So these 3 points are what Microsoft says: external users that are not employees of customer or its affiliates, not contractors or agents that typically work for customer or its affiliates more than 30 hours on average per week, which means if they work from home, from their own office, from an international location, if they work for that particular company for over 30 hours per week, they are internal users and they require internal licenses. Fewer BYOL discounts, fewer client access license discounts. And if a contractor or agent typically works on site on each working day, then it's also an internal user. If they come on site, they're an internal user regardless. Previously, it was also in the same manner, but now it's, if you read into every single word, you can see that it's a bit stricter than it used before. But basically, who are affected here? Most affected are those contractors that used to be off-site, which previously could be classified as external users. And the effect on the budgets is the following. They will require, well, they now require, if you have a new agreement, Windows Server CAL, RDS CAL, and RMS CAL, which previously could be licensed per hardware box with external connectors, which if you had a significant number of external users, would be cheaper than acquiring CALs, separate CALs for them. Productivity server CALs, productivity service, if you still have them on premise, service like Exchange, Skype for Business, and SharePoint previously did not require licenses for external users at all. It was a zero cost. Now, if somebody works remotely for your company for over 30 hours per week, they require CALs for those servers. Or M365 subscriptions with these CALs included, but that's a different note. We have it here in the list. If you use Viva Engage, they require user subscription licenses. Again, external users didn't. They will be included if you have any enterprise products in your enterprise agreement. Now you need to include those remote workers that work over 30 hours per week. You will need to include them in the qualified user count. If you have any products in your enterprise agreement that require licensing for all the qualified users, so that increases your user base. And they cannot anymore bring their own Microsoft 365 or Office 365 licenses. So you have to provide those licenses for them. It's a definite budget increase, depending on how you use external users like that, contractors or agents that work remotely, depending on the quantity of them in your company, this could be a significant cost increase. And Dynamics 365 is unaffected. It's still the same. So nothing changes there. Moving on to Dynamics 365 price increase. This is now reality. I haven't seen yet the price list, but I trust that the prices are similar to what they announced over half a year ago. So this is now a reality if you haven't managed to secure previous prices. If you're still not aware, this is what you're going to face. And if you weren't aware, and if you're budgeting for Dynamics 365, please review your budgets. And if you have any questions about how to negotiate the discounts, and if you had limited budgets, you finally approved the product and now you hit with this, you want to negotiate it, let me know. We'll try and help. The last piece of news for today, only yesterday, some of the SPLA resellers, including ADN, By the way, thank you guys from the German reseller ADN. There was a very detailed post about it on LinkedIn. But the basics are, there'll be a regular price increase on SPLA. It will be between 10 and 11%, mostly 10%, so it's closer to 10% in January 2025. And as an excuse, as if Microsoft needed an excuse, they always raise prices on SPLA on an annual basis. But as an excuse, they say it's because we release new products which are better, newer, and these products will include Windows Server 2024. We expected it to be already announced in October. It seems like Microsoft is delaying Windows and SQL until Microsoft Inspire in November. And by the way, I just said SQL. So finally, there are reasonable rumors about SQL Server 2024. So expect that to be released as a new product. And Office, which I already showed you, Office LTSC, which is available through SPLA. Office prices will also go up by 10%. If you are an end client, then budget for that as well. If you rent something from a service provider, you pay monthly. Some of your licenses that you get from a service provider may go up by 10%. That depends on the provider, because you don't buy licenses from them. They buy licenses and they provide them to you. So depending on how they will change their billing, your prices may go up roughly by 10% in January 2025. So that is the last bit of today's announcement. I have one question. If a recording will be available? Yes, a recording will be available on our YouTube channel. It will be available here on LinkedIn. You're watching on LinkedIn, Bharat, I can see that. And also, everyone who clicked attend on our video on LinkedIn will receive a link when the video is production ready. Thank you very much for being here with us. As I promised, it's a very short update. Strictly speaking, there's nothing revolutionary in it, except for, well, new version of Office and Windows, which are really not new version. That is it. This is October. Let's wait for November, especially around the dates of Microsoft Inspire. I hope that we'll have more clarity around Windows Server 2024 and SQL Server 2024. Have a great productive rest of the week. And I'll see you again on our Wednesday lives. We have these updates on a monthly basis in the first, usually Wednesday of the month. But unfortunately, yesterday I was traveling from Amsterdam, from SAMS Europe back to our office, which is in Gloucestershire, United Kingdom. So we do this live today, but normally it's the first Wednesday of the month. And on other Wednesdays, we have live events via LinkedIn on my page and on my business partners page, Daryl Ullman's page, which are related to other more in-depth, deep dive aspects of Microsoft licensing, negotiations, cost savings, and overall vendor management, everything that's related to Microsoft. Thanks again. I hope to see you soon. Have a great, productive rest of the week and a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.